need to have committed funds for our transit systems, for our transportation systems, and for our roads and bridges. The east side of the metro here, we are so behind the 21st century in transit. I have a neighbor who, I don't know if she's here, but her mother needs to go see her daughter every once in a while in Eagan, and it takes her more than a half a day to get to Eagan using public transit. There are many people that I was raised here, so many people that were here that I know during the streetcars, and they claim that when the streetcars were here, it was better. It was. It was better, folks. They could get to St. Paul. They could get to Matamidi. So we need to look at transit as part of our transportation budgets. And yes, I do believe that a 1 cent tax possibly on gas, but there are also other means of doing that, as user fees, such as maybe a slight tax on auto parts, fees that will tax the people that are using the systems. So we do need to raise money for it, and I believe that that's one way that we can do it. Yeah.
How can this area get better public transportation? You just talked about that a little bit.
Okay, say it again.
How can this area get better public transportation?
Well, there's talk of rapid bus transit routes. The county is working on that. So, I don't think we're going to get trains out here as much as I'd love it. I don't think we're going to get trains out here very soon, but we can work on rapid bus transit lines and have, I've got to tell you, if I get this job, if you hire me for this job, I would love to be able to hop on a bus and go over to the Capitol every day in St. Paul. So, we need to work with counties, we need to work with the state, and we need to work with funding, and it's an absolute need, I think, in this area. We are way behind the times, and it provides opportunity for people to get to jobs, for senior citizens to have some mobility around town. So it's time for all of us to work together, all of those funding resources to work together and do what we can to provide better transit in the East Metro.
A random question. Do you support or oppose sulfide or copper mining in Minnesota?
I have to explain this question. Okay. No, I don't. I'm going to say it that way. No, I don't, because we are such a water-rich area, and that kind of mining is never been proven to be safe. There's always been accidents. We've polluted our waters every time that we've had mines in water-rich areas, and so I don't think we'll be the first state that doesn't have a problem with a sulfide mine. However, I empathize with the areas up there where mining is important, because we're dealing with people and families who need jobs. And so we can't just brush that off. So there are means for us, I think, to provide money, to provide training, to look to the future, to what we can do for folks up there in the range, up in those areas, that they also have jobs, because they still have to go home at night and put food on their table and feed their kids. So it's pretty easy for us down in the cities to say, nope, no mining up north from us. There's much more to it, and I really understand that, and there's a lot more complexity in that problem than just should there be sulfide mines.
1 in 5 people experience mental health challenges every year. What will you do to support and build our mental and chemical health systems?
Okay, yeah, 1 in 5. 1 in 25 has a serious mental health condition. Mental health is common. Okay, so let's say that. First of all, I'll talk as a teacher that we need to provide. Most mental health conditions are diagnosed before the age of 14. So where do we need to start to recognize that? In schools. And we don't have mental health professionals in our schools in this district and many districts around. That's been a money-saving plan, is to get rid of some of those ancillary people. So we need to make sure that we are addressing kids and kids' mental health needs, because that's where most of it happens. That's where most of it can be diagnosed, and that's where the most, a lifetime of help can start right there. So yes, I believe that we have. I believe that we need to deal with mental health problems in terms of veterans. that it needs to be less of a stigma, and I think it's becoming that. That insurance companies, if those are still around after I'm done with them, that insurance companies will cover mental health conditions, that we look at incarceration, and we look at the homeless, and we realize and look at them that, you know what? They have mental health conditions that could be dealt with. So it's a huge problem. It's a huge public health issue in our area, or not in our area, in our country, really in our country. And so absolutely, there's a lot of work to be done in that area.
You mentioned omnibus bills, those 1,000-page wonders that encompass all kinds of things. What ideas do you have for ways to discontinue or stop the practice of multi-issue 1,000-page omnibus bills?
Okay. They are crazy. Have you ever seen them? I was at a hearing over a Senate hearing. It was an environmental hearing or something. I was over there. But they carried the bill in, the AIDS. They carried the bill in, and it was probably 3 stacks of paper, reams of paper that tall. That was the bill. That was the omnibus bill. So just that visual to me told me there's a problem here. There's a problem here. Now, I don't know if I can answer it with complete intelligence, because I believe that there is something in our Constitution that says that we need to have single-issue bills, that bills should be single-issue. So I'd have to look into that more to really have, to be able to speak more intelligently about this. But omnibus bills are a problem, and we do need to address it. Too many things get buried into those bills, and much of it is just a political ploy by whoever's stuffing them full of things, so that perhaps those 3 stacks of thousands and thousands and thousands of pieces of paper, there's one thing in there that one of the parties wants. So it's a problem, and we do need to address it.
Do you support a constitutional amendment to reverse Citizens United?
Yes. It's I hate to use a cliche. I'm an English teacher, and we hate cliches, but money is the root of all evil. When it comes to politics, it really is. I mean, we've entitled bribery. Corporations are considered people these days. Money is considered free speech. What's wrong with that picture? It's not, we can't continue. Now that I'm running for office, et cetera, I see from this side of what money does for politics, and it's not necessarily all good. So I think we need to do a lot of things to, overturning Citizens United would be one thing. We need to look closer at corporations and who they're, what kinds of donations, et cetera, that they're making to what candidates. That all there has to be more transparency there. But ultimately, that is the answer: is repealing and getting rid of Citizens United.
Do you support public financing of political campaigns in which candidates must abide by spending limits? Explain your answer.
Yes, that's my first answer. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. We do have spending limits. I'm not sure if you guys are exactly aware of how it works, but we do have spending limits in each race. It's different. However, because of Citizens United, so I can only spend. Here's what I can spend. And we'll just get the math out here. I can spend $72,000. So of course, all of our goals are always to raise $72,000. Okay, because you want to spend all that you can spend. But so at least there's a limit. I mean, there is that. At least there is a limit on it. But because of Citizens United, some of those ugly old ads that you see out there, they aren't put out by me. They're put out by those corporations. They're put out by those people that are empowered by that legislation, Citizens United, to use speech as, to use money as speech. So $200,000, $300,000 sometimes on a state representative race is not uncommon. And you know what? Do you ever look at at those flyers that come out? They're the most ridiculous looking things you've ever seen. Who believes that stuff? But thousands, and millions of dollars are spent on that. And those are what's called outside our independent expenditures. Candidates we don't have any idea what they're doing with that. So it's groups that have an interest in something, in a candidate, whatever. So that brings us right back to Citizens United, that there shouldn't be just freewheeling money spending like that. And hopefully, I think it's insulting to many of our intelligence with those National Enquirer kind of cards where they pick the most ugly picture of you that they could ever find, make it all fuzzy and make claims that probably aren't true. But a lot of money is spent on that. So that's right back to Citizens United.
If you are elected, you will be representing a large group of people with many diverse views. How will you decide where to stand as a representative on any given issue? I am your representative. So that's where it starts. I'm there for you. You're my voters. You're the one that's going to hire me. You're my human resources department. I've been doing this incredible 1.5 year long job interview with you. and you're either going to hire me or not hire me to go there. So, I'm working for you. So that's what will help me to decide. But I do think that I'm different, and maybe I'm an idealist, but if no one tries it, it's never going to happen. I am a civil person. I build relationships. I'm a critical thinker, and I'm a lifelong learner. And I want to bring everyone into this picture. I so want warfare to stop. How many of you are so tired of it? And let me tell you, that's one of the first things I hear at the doors, is they shake their heads and say, I can't watch television anymore. I can't watch it anymore. So I'm going to do my darndest to get in there and to try to reach across the aisle and give up some things, possibly, if you'll let me. And try to, make things work across the aisle so that we do have more diverse, so that we're not all way far to the left or way far to the right, that we can come to the middle. And you know what? We all share much more than we differ. We all want good things for our kids in education. We all want clean water. We all want the same things. So there are ways that we can give and take, and that we can get there. We can move ourselves a little bit more toward the center, I believe. Talk about why you are running for the House of Representatives.
It probably started in education as a teacher. And I became frustrated with what I saw in terms of policy, the lack of funding, and I felt like I didn't have much of a voice in it. So that was a lot of it, and we've had turmoil in our school district. Now I'm talking about not the legislative district, but the school district, and that's hurtful too. Let me tell you, regardless of where I come down on that issue, and I'm from Marine, so I'll be honest, it hurt my heart a little bit when I heard Marine was closing, because schools are community and community are schools, and so I do think we need to, remember that. But I have friends. My husband and I have been coaching and teaching for decades. So we've built thousands and thousands of relationships in this community, and they're not all Democrats. Let me tell you, okay? So, and they're not all on the same. They're not all on the same page in terms of what happened with our schools, and I refuse to give that up. That's my strength. That's my strength in this area, is that I have friends across the spectrum. Whether everyone votes for me or not, that's okay. But I refuse to give up those friends. I refuse to give up that opportunity, like I said once more, to bring things together and to continue to respect others, even if they may have views that are different than mine. So that's my goal. That's my goal, is to reach across the aisle, to make, in the classroom I did it. I was a student-centered teacher. That's what I heard in all my reviews, that I was a student-centered teacher, that kids learned to trust me and like me. And I plan to be that kind of legislator, that I'm a people-centered legislator, and it's all about the people. And also, it's all about the kids. It's about what we're doing for young kids now, because they are everything in about 20 years.
How has the reality of running for office been different from your expectations of running for office?
Oh, boy, this one I could talk for a long time on. It's an amazing thing, you guys. I didn't think about I didn't work on campaigns for years, or I wasn't a part of the, the Young Democrat Club in high school or anything like that. This came to me in the last few years because I started feeling anger inside myself, and then I'd say things online or get snarky and say snarky things. I thought, this isn't doing anything, so here I am. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of money. It's I have to be somewhat thick-skinned, although I've loved. I've knocked on over 4,000 doors. My team and I have knocked on almost 10,000 doors now. I love that part of it. It's busy, and it's hard to do, but I love that part of it. So being a representative for me is being a community member. I don't think I'd want to run for Senate. I know I wouldn't want to run for Congress, but I want to be a representative in my community, which is, the purpose of my kind of job. That's why every 2 years we reelect our representatives, that it's someone among us that's just like us. And so that's what but the campaigning part is crazy sauce. I've gotten used to it. Hopefully I will get better at it. I'm more of an introvert than not. This isn't, I don't just look forward to doing something like this. Although this is kind of nice, actually. Kathy's not here, so I get to set the tone, and I get to almost talk to you in more of a conversational way, and that's what I love. I hate talking at people because I don't like all that attention. I would rather have conversations, and so I thank all of you for coming and allowing me to do that.
What changes could we expect to see at the legislature if you are elected?
Okay, I'll talk a little bit about this seat. Okay, the 39B seat. So my seat, Kathy and I will be sitting in the same seat, and I think it's going to be a lot more about civil discourse and about bringing others in and being open to new ideas, being much more open in my community, being much more available in my community. That's an immediate difference that you'll see in your representative. I think that will carry on, all through. So that's what I'm going to say is I'm going to be here for you. I've done 50, 60, 70, I don't know how many public events, whether it's coffees, get-togethers at houses, et cetera. And that's what I will always be. I will always be here for you, that you can talk to me, you can call me. I'll have coffee with you. And, I think that's the biggest difference that you're going to notice if I end up in the legislature.
Let's call that our last question.
Okay.
And now how about some closing comments?
Thank you for coming. I hope to hear from all of you. I know I recognize many of you. I appreciate everyone's support. I appreciate what the league has done. I hope you'll go with me. I hope you will practice in our community and in our discourse a civil way of working with others, and that we can change that. That anger isn't really how we operate anymore. That it's through energized, just having energy for our communities, for our fellow human beings, believing in equity, believing in inclusion, and working hard toward that end. Thanks much.
The league thanks the candidate for her participation, the Valley Access Channels for broadcasting this event, the City of Oak Park Heights for the use of their facilities, our league volunteers, and you, the audience, for your attendance and interest. And remember that tomorrow is National Voter Registration Day, and if you haven't registered yet, please do. The league will be out in force at 4 of our high schools in the area, Stillwater, Matamidi, Forest Lake, and White Bear, registering voters. Because we want your voice to be heard. Vote on November 6th. Thank you and good night.